Hi, how's it going? I'm Marlene. Thanks for wandering by. So I had planned to do a completely different video this weekend, and then something happened just the other day, and I felt like I just wanted to ramble and chat and talk about something like, when do we know it's time to move on? I'll have probably titled this video something like that, like, when do we know it's time to put this deck away and reach for a new one? And I feel like, am I making a mountain out of a molehill? I don't know, maybe. But maybe it's not something that we necessarily talk about. Like, we talk about when it's time to move on from a deck, like entirely to move a deck out of our collection. So like, I'm loving the Declutter series that Thea is doing, a Garden Goddess Tarot, and Krista from Krista Chronicles is also doing a declutter. I've done my own deck collection and declutter. I will always watch a declutter just because I'm like really curious to hear what people have to say about why, like their thinking behind why this, why not this, what has changed, what has evolved, where they happen to be along the way in their, in reading tarot, etc. Anyway, but I was like I was kind of like feeling like I'm zooming in a little bit more into the, it's not a microcosm, maybe it is, of a practice where you're using multiple decks throughout a month or a week or even a few days, and like how time like works for you. So you know that I operate, and a lot of us operate. Well, if you've if you've been watching my channel, that like I typically switch out my decks month by month, and the calendar month just works. I have, as you know, like do other timed type systems because I follow the decans, which is every 10 days, but that's kind of a different thing. And then of course, lots and lots of folks work seasonally with tarot and with witchcraft practices and things like that, because and follow the seasons, according to the wheel of the year sometimes, but also like literally like just what's going on outside. And the seasons are definitely more pronounced in other parts of the United States. Definitely not where I live. Like, it's very sunny. We are gonna get a cold snap, like a little cold front coming through next week. And that means it's gonna be like in the 50s. So all the South Floridians will put on their sweaters and boots and stuff for like, the morning, and then they'll die of a heat stroke because it's gonna get up to the 80s, probably 70s or 80s Fahrenheit by midday. So that's kind of how things roll here. But I digress. So I have a couple of decks sitting out here, and I guess I don't know how long this video is gonna be, maybe not too super long, but I just wanted to share with you like what I've been working with, and like when I kind of just knew, or it felt like it was time to transition from using one deck to using another. And I often get these itches because I've been working with tarot decks in this way, for a while. Like, I switch out all the decks month to month, but week upon week, I usually like 1 week kind of focus. I'll feel the pull of one particular deck, and then the next week, at the end of the week, I'll feel like I need to move on. And that happened, but it felt like I hadn't really like picked up on that before. So I've been sitting here with these two decks sitting out here, and this is the Tarot of the Strange Branches. It's a French deck. It's a thick one, and this is one of the decks that here, I'll put this aside for now. This is one of the decks that my to be read jar picked for me to use this month in November. And I was immediately wanting to work with this deck like right away. So it's the first week of November, and here we are using the, the Tarot of the Strange Branches. This deck is so cool. Maybe I should just, I think I'm gonna do this. This deck is so cool, you guys. It's probably got a lot of nudity, so I don't know if that's gonna be a problem or not. We'll see. But this deck, see, like this is the Fool card, and it's really feels like a deck about becoming, emerging. Like the Fool is literally emerging from the mud. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna try to put the ones that aren't too much in the nude. But in any case, this deck is so about, look at this Tower card. It's like, it feels feral. Like this deck feels like we're following this character or a few characters, but like maybe our main, girl. And I was saying to some tarot buddies that this deck feels like it's answering the question, what's a girl to do when she's becoming something else? And that's like my little mantra, or not mantra, question to myself right now. Although I'm not a girl, I'm definitely a middle-aged woman. And it's like, I definitely feel like changes are happening. I've been talking about this for a little while. I'm making some transitions. Things are different. And this deck is so good for this. It's so feral, it's so earthy, it's just really cool. And I was having a really good time with it this week. Oh, I love that it has the as above, so below cards. I mean, it's in French, but you get the picture, right? And yeah, I mean, it's this, I don't know, it's this whole feral, outdoor, witchy, very emerging from the mud, creating something new, woman out of clay, I said. Being a woman made out of clay, or making yourself again, which is definitely what I feel like is going on, has been going on, was a theme. And I did a big Celtic cross reading with this deck, and then I've been using it daily. Oh, I was pairing it with this one. So here, let me put it side by side with this one. So this is the Nature's Wisdom message cards, and it is a teeny little deck, a pocket deck that has, scenes from nature, photographs, just the title, and then on the back it has 3 different messages, and you can take one of them, all of them, none of them, however you want to do. But and it's funny because I really don't love decks that have a lot of messaging on it, because I tend to over analyze or over critique those things, where I'm just meh. I get kind of cynical about them, especially if they're too affirmation-y and that kind of thing. That's just how I am. I tend to be okay, I don't know, or critical. But for whatever reason, this one, it doesn't bother me. So let's look at Acorn. You will remember and tap into a dormant strength that will offer endurance, protection. You do not need the experience of others. Trust your own knowledge. You will prevail. You are fresh, new, inexperienced, or young. This will not hinder you. No one will notice. Oh, that makes me think of that, is it a meme or a video or a viral thing where it's how are they gonna know? They'll never know. How will they know? They'll never know. That one, if you know what I mean. No one will notice. Anyway, so these could, I guess they could seem kind of telling you what to do sort of business, which is my least favorite thing. But regardless, I like it. I don't know. I just like it. I like the pictures. I love a photographic deck for sure. Oh look, Seed came up with the Magician. That's so cool. I'll flip through a little bit so you can see, you know, them next to each other. The Seven of Cups and Stump. I love to do a 1-in-1. That's another thing. So 1 tarot card, 1 oracle card is fantastic. Yeah. Oh, Justice in a Puddle. So good. The World and an Eggshell. I love that this deck has both an egg and an eggshell because symbolically that's very different. And I like it a lot. Oh, look at that. The 4 of Pentacles and a Tree Hollow. The High Priestess and a Seedling. So there was Seed and Seedling. That's so funny. I didn't realize how connected a lot of these are, but it makes sense. Leaf and the 10 of Swords. Anyway, so you get the point. We have 9 of Cups and Soil. So, oh, this Temperance card is so cute. Like, do you not love that? I love shells, obviously. Yeah, and also this is like outdoors. It's a forest, but there's a stream, water, but you could be by the ocean. I mean, like, you could be anywhere. It's just like feral land or feral person in, like, you know, wild lands. Yeah, so cool. Temperance and Wind. For 3 of Wands, Batons, and Fur. So yeah, so I was using these 2 decks this past week and I was feeling it, you know, I was sharing it with my tarot group friends. I was, you know, feeling all the vibes, and it was just a perfect, you know, like tarot work that I was doing, and it felt good and etc. I was also, well, sidebar, just a little sidebar, and show you another deck that I was working with, but that one was the main one that I've been using this past week or so. The other deck that I've been using is this cute little guy, which is this is an indie deck. The other 2 that I just showed you are mass market. I'm pretty sure they're both in print. I think so. But this is To the Moon and Back Tarot. I got this off Etsy. I'm pretty sure it's still available. But it is this really kind of chaotic little collage deck that looks like, I mean, and I mean this in the very best way because I think it was intentionally made to look like it was like a child did it, or it's very childlike. There's a lot of very, I mean, because To the Moon and Back, it feels like a very kind of like childlike phrase, you know, like you would say, I love you to the moon and back, you know, to like a kid, right? At least that's just how I'm feeling about it. But in any case, because it's very choppy, it's not like a seamless collage. And then there's like things that are kind of weird about it. Like sometimes the titles will show up on the bottom, sometimes they'll show up on the top, sometimes they'll show up in the middle. And it's very like, you see how it's cut, like it looks like rough around the edges. I think that's intentional. Or whatever. I'm reading it as it is, as if it is an intentional thing, because that's how it feels to me. Anyway, I love this little deck. Like, and I don't know, I'm back and forth about collage decks all the time, but I've been really enjoying this little deck. Here, let's just like spread out some cards. I've been really enjoying this little deck at work with me. So I've taken it with me to the office and I've been using it there. And also I was just like playing with it and looking at all the cards. I did, you know, I looked at all the majors and then I looked at the story of the minors, and some of the cards are like, they weren't like immediately like intuitive for me. And so it does come with like the little, I have them in this little rubber band, but it does have like little card meanings, and they're a little different for some of the, oops, I broke my rubber band. Oh, I'm gonna have to do something about that. Anyway, some of them are a little bit different than I would typically read, you know? But I really like it. I like that it's not superly, like, I don't know, like overly engineered and designed. Does that make sense? Like, it feels like kind of just put together very in the moment, and like I had to do this like this, and it isn't like a perfectionist kind of a deck, you know? I don't know. I don't know why that appeals to me so much, but I just kind of like that. Oh, I love this Queen of Pentacles. Anyway, I've been using this one, and I guess back to like my original like thesis here, my premise for this video is that I'm certain that I want to keep this deck still in my bag for work and keep it with me. I'm sure that I'm certain that I'm not done working with this yet this month. At least not next week. Like, I know that I'm gonna put it back in its little bag, and I'm gonna put it in my, you know, work bag, and I'm gonna take it with me. And I assume that I'm going to, you know, bring it out again sometime next week. However, the Tarot of the Strange Branches, I'm ready to like kind of put it away for a little bit and maybe come back to it. But the reason why, and here's what happened, is I pulled a reading, and this was it, the other day. And I was like, okay, like I got it. I understood what the reading was telling me. And I got it, but I was like, but I feel like there's something I'm not, you know, that's not hitting in the way that it was with the other readings that I had been doing. And it was just like, I just felt like my thinking was shifting, or I needed something different. Like, this deck had been very much appealing to this sense that I had about this, like, very, like, I don't know, just like very bodily sort of, you know, on the ground, like messy, muddy, you know, like I was saying, like feral, like movement that I've been feeling. But I was thinking like this reading was like kind of, this is gonna sound so weird. This reading was kind of like, you know, like lifting up off the ground, floating a bit, you know, kind of where I like to live, floaty, in floaty land, mostly. And so I was like, well, what's going on here? Maybe I need to clarify this, you know, maybe I need to look at this more deeply. Maybe I need to, you know, grab the oracle and, you know, pull out and see what message, you know, comes through from the oracle cards. But then I was like, no, that's not what it is. What it is, or what it was, is that I think I was ready to transition from this deck to another. And and I knew what that deck was going to be. It was, you know, over in my basket, you know, and I'm like, what if I clarify this with a different deck? And I was like, this is the one that I want to use, the Odysseian tarot. I was like, let me, you know, and I started shuffling. I started shuffling the cards, and then I said to myself, no, I don't think that's what it needs. I don't want to put another reading from the Odysseian Tarot, which, by the way, is an indie deck by Welkin Tarot. I believe the creator's name is Chris. Oh, I can never remember their last name, but it's Welkin Tarot. And it's a Greek mythology deck that I adore. It's got like the meatiest, most wonderful guidebook. Love this. It's so good. Anyway, I decided, what was I saying? I decided, no, I'm not gonna layer another reading on top of this. I wanna see what these cards look like in the Odysseian Tarot, and if that reading is like the reading that I should have gotten or I don't know, not should have gotten. Those aren't the right words. It's a weird way to describe it. I'm not sure how to, let me see if the word will come to me, but let me just put down the cards so that you can see. So we have here now from the Odysseian tarot, and I've done this before. Like I've looked at cards, the same card from different decks, but not necessarily in this very specific way, where I was like, okay, let's look at this reading now from the Odysseian tarot. And I did put them one under the other. So I was still looking at, I can't do that as well here on the camera because I have a teeny tiny little filming space. But we have, and I had forgotten about this card because this is a phoenix. This is so the Ace of Flames in the Odysseian tarot. I had forgotten that this was not just about the phoenix, but rather this is chaos featuring the phoenix. And when I went into the guidebook and read the whole entry about about chaos and something coming from nothing and creation, and how it was just so exactly what I needed in the moment. And it was like personal, definitely very personal, but I wanted those mental like gymnastics. Like I wanted to be bit bopping around in my head and thinking about, creation and and that on that level, rather than like on this like, cauldron witchy witch in the woods, sort of thing. You know what I mean? And it was working. I mean, I'm not telling you exactly what the reading was, but like, you catch my, you catch my drift. You get it. I'm pretty sure you guys get it. And then, this is Alexander the Great. And so this one was the one that threw me off for the whole reading. So the Page of Swords, and I love this Page of Swords a lot. I kind of love also that her elbows have like, it looks like she's been like, digging, like she's got like wounds here on her from the, on the elbows. Like that's so like, so good. But anyway, Alexander the Great, and this is the suit of wind or air, right? So the swords, and him coming out in this position and this like power and exploration, and just, I read through the guidebook again. And then lastly, for the Knight of Wands and the Minotaur to come up, I also really, really love this depiction of the Minotaur, like looking just really kind of so incredibly like creepy and scary. Yeah. And oh gosh, it's very scary. It's very scary. And and then there was all of this, to do in the guidebook. I mean, I know the story of the Minotaur and Theseus and the Minotaur and the labyrinth and, the ball of yarn and Ariadne and the whole thing. Like I've read and heard and thought about that story so many times, but like literally every time it comes up, it means something different. That's what's so amazing about these stories to me. Anyway, again, like I said, it was like all the neurons were firing and it was doing the thing. Like it was doing what I needed, and it just, meant to me that like I was ready to move from this deck to this deck. And I had never really done that before, so like obviously and intentionally, and with such an understanding of it in the moment. Like you put one deck down, you pick up another deck, and you're not always, I'm saying you, but I really mean me, and I'm not really, necessarily thinking about why or stopping to think about why, because you don't necessarily need to. Like I said, I might be making a mountain out of a molehill here, but maybe not. Like maybe you guys get it. And then I went to the Oracle deck after that, because I felt like, now I have this like double reading, this like, you know, it seemed much bigger than originally. Oh, love that card. I got that card. It seemed bigger than I had originally thought it was going to be. And so I needed even more, I guess. I needed even more. And so I'm looking for the card that I got. And did I shuffle this? Yeah, no, I just was showing it to you. So, oh, Hilo's barking because people are walking by. I know, bub. Okay, I definitely just don't want to edit, but I might have to. While I find, aha! This is the card. Bird. Talk about air. Oops, dog hair, I think. Okay, so we got bird, I got bird. And then on the back, it says, representing the higher self, birds offer the ability to raise above all known obstacles. So this feeling of like ascension, this feeling of like moving from the ground upwards, and how I needed to go from like my body to my mind, and maybe back again. But then it says, a recognized symbol of the soul. Birds lift us out of the mundane by awakening potential. Bird helps us strive for greater things, higher levels of consciousness, deeper awareness. So I think in this, like, it's just like very, very telling about what I'm needing and where I think I'm going, and how like that, you know, that like kind of little personal journey is happening, from, you know, like how things are going from like a practical, mundane, I mean, or even like a creation, like a beginning, you know, to where it's leading me, like spiritually and for my higher self. I don't know, because I don't know what higher self necessarily means sometimes, but you know, it's still a cool term. But yeah, I think I'm done talking now. That's what happened. This happened just the other day, and I wanted to share it with you because I thought it was cool. And I don't know that we slow down enough to like really kind of investigate these little, you know, micro decisions that we're making. Like, why did I put this deck down and pick this one up? We, you know, like we tend to pay attention to things that are like a much bigger, grander scale, you know, like, and I thought it was cool to like zoom in to this little decision of like, okay, this deck is gonna go back in its bag, and this deck is the one that's coming out for me to hang out with probably this week. And it just so happens that I have apparently a rhythm of week upon week. And then I tend to get like really antsy the last week of the month, where I'm just like, oh, I'm itchy and I don't want to work with any of these decks that I had set aside. Often that's what happens. And sometimes I'll just, you know, I'll follow that urge or temptation or, you know, feeling or whatever. Okay. So I think this is short-ish and sweet-ish. I think I'm done. So that's it. I just wanted to share that with you. You know, let me know if this is something that like you've ever done before, and how you transition from one deck to another. Do you pay attention? Is there like a thing that happens in your brain? Are you aware of it? Let me know. I'm curious. And yeah, thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you all have a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye.